Polka collects some of the lake water in a bottle. He then busies himself dipping various papers and medicinal compounds into the bottle. At length, he makes a curious face. According to Polka, burning the water releases toxins that accumulate and can cause fatal harm to the human body. Your party decides to head back to the City of Flame and inform the aristocrat of your findings. The fire's out, but it's... With the flames of the lake extinguished, those of the pond in the center of the city have also gone out. The people seem frantic to reignite the tinder water once more. It's 50,000 gold pieces for the night, a voice snips as you enter the inn. Your jaw drops. Oh, I'm only kidding. My other business brings in so much coin, I let people stay for free, the innkeeper says, laughing heartily. You figure it's best not to argue, and resolve to stay the night on the innkeeper's largesse. The party takes leave of the inn, feeling rested and refreshed. Polka's medicine succeeds in stabilizing the child's condition. However, he is quick to indicate that it is but a stopgap measure. Polka advises that, should they wish to prolong the life of the child and of all those in the city, they must stop using the tinder water. The aristocrat shakes his head and says, "That we cannot do." You calmly ask, why? He explains that the tinder water is the basis of all life here in the city. The city would fall into decline if they were to stop using it, and most of the citizens would be set adrift with no means of supporting themselves. I am in charge of this city, and I cannot stop our use of tinder water, even if it costs the life of my child. Polka's voice is quiet. I cannot claim to understand how those who rule over others make their choices. Trollis scratches her chin, clearly racking her brain. She replies at last, "No, no." You ask the man if there is some way to resolve this impasse. He grimaces and makes a self-deprecating snort. Maybe if Nutera existed, then all would be solved. You ask if Nutera is some kind of place, and Polka nods. Pulka explains, Nuterra is said to be a mysterious land abundant with all manner of resources. The aristocrat picks up the thread. Scholars claim it exists beyond the river to the northwest. But none who go there ever return. With that, the man gives you a large amount of food and sends you away from the manor. You hand the food out to the orphans. How did you get this? The boy asks. You explain that you received it as a reward from the aristocrat. Hearing this, the boy blurts out, I'm going to use the burning water to get rich too. The boy mentioned that his parents died due to illness. Likely they were stricken with the toxins from the tinder water, just like the aristocrat's child. You tell the boy that the tinder water isn't good for him, but he replies, I don't care. The boy thanks you for the food and runs off with his sister. Pulka has a difficult-to-read expression on his face. Let's at least hand out the medicine, he suggests. You nod without uttering a word. The fire in my heart has gone out with all the rest, the man mutters before sinking to the ground, his arms hanging limp. You offer some medicine to the man, but he keeps repeating, no, I'm good, as though in a delirium. The passionate woman is screaming herself hoarse, coughing and sputtering as she points in shock at the pond where the fire has gone out. The woman accepts the medicine from you. With a pained wink, she says, not that this medicine could cure love sickness. With a trembling hand, the knowledgeable old woman strikes a knife against stone, muttering, this'll get it burning. I'm sure it will. You offer some medicine to the old woman, but she puts up a hand and refuses it. I'm afraid I don't make a habit of taking medicines I've never seen before. The lad is all smiles and mirth, claiming that if he were to invent a tool to start fires, he could make a killing. Despite his sunny attitude, though, he looks quite unwell. You give some medicine to the ambitious young man, and he is jubilant. Yes, I can work even more now. I'm gonna get rich and buy my sister all the yummy food she can eat, the boy tells you. You offer medicine to the children, but their faces drop. This won't fill our tummies, they say with considerable disappointment. It doesn't look like the people of the city are going to stop using tinder water anytime soon. The medicine you shared with them may provide little more than brief peace of mind. I can't believe they won't give it up. They know it's poisonous, you say in a low, pained voice. Legol gives you a sympathetic thump. on the shoulder. You look up at him and ask, "Do you think everyone could be happy if we went to New Terra?" His denial is immediate and assured. New Terra is a fairy tale. You answer him in a small voice. Polka looks positively delighted. "Why, yes, now that calls to my scholarly soul." Trollis seems equally on board. "I go too," she says, smiling. In the face of your united enthusiasm for the idea, Legol grunts, "Fine, if you insist." You and your friends have made up your minds. You shall seek New Terra and whatever hope it offers, believing it exists just like the stars in the sky. The city has done nothing about the poison, and likely never will. Now that you've left, it would be safest if you never returned. Your group surveys the land beyond the river that the aristocrat spoke of. He claimed that none who go there ever return, yet you've little choice but to brave what lies beyond. A great river of tinder water stretches out before you. While the liquid no longer burns, it would still be dangerous to attempt swimming. You start to hesitate, thinking that there is no crossing, when Polka shouts, "Da-na-na-na!" He is carrying an iron board, apparently having brought it back from the Lake of Fire. Just as before, you and your allies decide to build a bridge across the river. Your group crosses the river, and as you celebrate, you take notice of the tough, rock-studded expanse of land stretching before you. Your sand skiff was made for moving over the sands, so it'll be difficult to go any farther aboard it. You propose remodeling the sand skiff, and Polka is first to agree. Legol's face is uneasy as he mutters, "Don't do anything weird to it." Polka explains that 3 materials will be needed to convert the sand skiff. After some quick preparations, you decide to split up to locate what you need. Sometimes a different perspective can be illuminating. Polka asks Legol to find something that could be used as wheels. Legol is skeptical that something like that will just be lying around, but he sets off to look nonetheless. Legol recalls that there was a cart in the mine near Steelborough. Though hesitant to return to such a dangerous place, he can't make excuses when he thinks of how hard a certain subterran must be searching. He decides to take the sand skiff alone back to the mine. There is indeed a cart in the mine, as Legol recalled, and, as one would imagine, it has wheels. Legol attempts to remove the wheels from the minecart. But suddenly, a monster emerges from behind it. Masterful victory! With the monster defeated, Legol collects the minecart wheels. The slain monster's eyes are wide open. Legol gently closes the monster's eyes. Having done what he set out to do, Legol decides to head back to the sand skiff. With what Polka requested in hand, you beat feet to meet back up with the others. The group meets back up, having gathered all 3 of the things needed to modify the sand skiff. You've brought the sturdy pole. Legol has the wheels, and Trollus has the whip. "Are you sure I can use your whip?" Polka asks, and Trollus gives a little nod. Trollus turns her bag upside down, and, as advertised, a number of whips tumble to the ground. Doesn't your ringmaster need these? Legol gets a distant look on his face. A bit of pep in his step, Polka starts zipping around the sand skiff, making modifications. The modifications to the sand skiff are finished. The vehicle should be able to pass through the rocky wasteland without issue now. The group is thrilled, but suddenly, Trollis collapses. Polka hurries over to examine her. Somehow, she's suffering the effects of tinderwater poison. Beyond holding her close and squeezing her hand, there is little else you can do for Trollis. The battle with the flame primal flashes through your mind. During the struggle, Trollis threw herself in harm's way to protect you from the primal's attack. The poison must have entered her body through the wound she sustained in the process. Despite downing some of Polka's medicine, Trollis remains languid. It seems that the effect isn't very strong. She needs a sanitary place to rest, Polka says, and the group decides to try to find one. Ominous clouds swirl above you, darkening the sky. A peal of thunder follows a brief flash of lightning. This is bad. Everyone leaps out of the sand skiff and lies flat on the ground in a frenzied attempt to avoid being struck. As soon as you hit the ground, you feel the current rush through you. No one suffers a direct hit, but it's close enough that the ground makes sure you all feel the shock. You all stand up, muscles involuntarily twitching as the current runs its course. You shudder to think what would have happened if that had been a direct hit. The dark clouds break, and you all drag yourselves back to the sand skiff. A man, breathless and plump, suddenly jumps out in front of your group as you search for a place where Trollis can rest. Recognition dawns in you, and you're sure this is the ringmaster of the circus. At least, until he flatly denies it, saying you've confused him with someone else. Trollis rises unsteadily from the deck of the sand skiff, tilts her head to the side, and says, "You not ringmaster?" The man looks at Trollis for a moment, then breaks into a delighted smile. Oh ho! You're one of my brothers from the circus. As he explains it, this man is the younger brother of the circus ringmaster. He works as a merchant who travels the world buying and selling all manner of rare articles. And to that end, he wastes not a moment in trying to strike up some business. Perhaps a gander at my wares, then. You briefly explain Trollus's condition and ask the man if he knows of a good place to rest. Why didn't you say so sooner? I've got some good info on that front, he replies with a wink. The merchant shares that he has heard of a village to the west, wherein resides a brilliant apothecary. He's said to be a rather crabby fellow, but with any luck, you can get some medicine from him. And on top of that, find a place to rest. 2 birds with 1 stone. You say a few words of thanks and quickly head off to the west in search of the village. The man calls after you. I'll be here with my compatriots for a while, so do pop by later. The merchant glances over at you with a troubled look on his face. You ask him if something is the matter. For reasons I can't explain, I need a wolf. Could you catch one for me? He pleads. He then procures a picture and shows it to you. It looks like this. I'd like one with a beautiful shiny coat, he elaborates. It should be 2 stars at the very least. Stars, you ask? To which he explains that each monster has a star-based ranking. The stronger the monster, the more stars it has. Of course, I shall see that you are handsomely rewarded for your effort, he tells you. You decide to accept his request, then take out a wolf card from your case. A delighted smile stretches across his face, and he asks if he can have some of its fur. Once you hand a tuft over, he quickly entwines it with his own hair. "Behold," he exclaims with a grin. "I'm even more dashing than before, no?" I need to make a good impression on all of our patrons. After all, I'm the first person they see, and how I look influences the credibility of this entire business, he explains. After he's finished arranging the wolf fur on his head, he thanks you and hands you your reward. The merchant, recognizing your monster-catching prowess, wants you to bring him an orc child next. Just like the wolf, he asks for one that's 2 stars or above. Orc children are said to live in the desert, but dislike the sun's powerful rays and tend to hide away in dark places. You make note of the information and bid the man farewell. Polka looks through the telescope and yelps in surprise. You snatch it from him and have a look yourself. It's a monster, and one behaving rather strangely now that you get a good look at it. Polka continues carrying on and making a scene beside you. You toss the telescope over your shoulder and race toward the monster at full speed. Not to be outdone, Polka races after you. But the monster has sensed your presence and whirls around to meet your attack. A masterful victory! Upon seeing your card with the monster sealed inside, Polka exclaims, I've only ever read about this in literature. Monsters are all the same, you mutter under your breath and slip the card into your case. Get him! this place feels eerily familiar. You open your pack and fish out a scrap of paper. You knew it. This is where the map says there's hidden treasure. You feel around on the ground for a moment and soon discover an unnatural swell in the dirt. You claw at the earth with reckless abandon. Success. Buried treasure. Ecstatic, you fling open the lid and stash its contents in your bag. You locate a small village. This is probably the place the merchant mentioned where the apothecary lives. However, monsters suddenly appear, and they're headed straight for the town. You can't let them attack the town, for Trollus's sake too. You take off running to stop the monsters. Fear not, though their card shows a coffin, they're not actually dead. Sometimes you get lucky. Unbeknownst to any, you manage to avert the danger. Now Trollus needs help. Hurry into the village. You and Legol enter the village, leaving Polka caring for Trollus on the sand skiff. No sooner do you enter the village than a man's voice calls out to you. This here's the Village of Light. Make yourself at home and rest your wearied spirits. The villager wears a curious headpiece, but seems polite and courteous. You get directly to the point and ask him if he knows about the apothecary. Ah, that would be me, he says, before offering to mix up some medicine if you're in a hurry. You explain Trollus's symptoms, and the man calling himself an apothecary smiles and says he can help right away. Afraid of the answer, you ask what it will cost. The man calling himself the apothecary laughs and assures you he has no need of payment. The apothecary hardly seems crabby at all, so you check again with him that he really is the one you're looking for. He answers that coming to this village changed him, made him realize that people need to live by helping each other. The apothecary suggests you take a wander about town while he mixes up the medicine. He adds, "The folks about town are kind souls one and all, so feel free to ask them if you need anything." Legol says that he'll get Trollus and returns to the sand skiff. You decide to walk around the village and find what you'll need to care for your friend. After hearing your tale, the woman hands you her food. Make sure you all eat up and get all your nutrients. And if there isn't enough, you just let me know and I'll make more. Ha ha, she finishes with a hearty laugh. After hearing your tale, the proprietor of the inn beams at you and says, "Don't worry your head over payment. Stop in and make use of one of our rooms as much as you like." You offer a word of thanks and feel a weight lift off your chest. Now Trollis will be able to rest somewhere comfortable. The boy looks at you and says, "This would look nice on you, miss," and hands you a crown made of gorgeous artificial flowers. You try to pay for it, but the boy counters with a smile. "I gave it to you because I wanted to." That was nice. The old man says, "No person is an island. That's why we need to join hands and help one another." The apothecary comes running your way. The medicine is finished. You take it from him and then try to head back to Trollis, but there seems to be quite some commotion at the entrance of town. Wondering what could have happened, you hurry over. A crowd of villagers has thronged the entrance to town. On the opposite side are Legol, Trollis, and Polka. Their earlier kindness seemingly an implausible memory, the group shouts, "Get out, now." You realize that the villagers are staring daggers at Trollis. They seem somehow furious at her. Even the apothecary, who only just handed you medicine for her, has an expression of utter rage on his face. You attempt to intervene and protect Trollis, but the villagers continue to bellow their anger. Suddenly, you hear a serene voice call out over the crowd. At the sound of it, the people fall incredibly quiet. A mysterious girl, young in years, emerges from within the awkwardly silent crowd. "I beg your forgiveness for the way you have been treated by the villagers," she says. "If you require a place for your sick friend to rest, please come to the Shrine of Light," she finishes, before leading the way. As soon as you arrive at the shrine in which the girl lives, you put Trollis in a bed to rest. You're relieved that you've managed things for the time being. When you speak with the girl, she says, "I've been waiting for you all." You haven't told the girl anything, so how is it she knows that? "I know more than that." She goes on to describe much about your group. The monster attack on your village, Legol's cruel treatment. What happened to Polka's parents? "What's your deal?" Legol says, unnerved. The girl answers, "The power of prophecy." She explains that due to her power, the people revere her as a religious guru. You've never heard that word before, and so you ask, "Guru?" You ask if a guru is some kind of teacher, and Legol nods. "Yeah, I think you could say they're a sort of teacher." Polka adds, "A guru is the founder of an ideological group, or the leader of one." In any event, the guru is clearly important to the village. You decide to ask her about the place. You ask why the once kind villagers became so angry. The guru explains in a measured voice. This remote village has, she explains, been the victim of many monster attacks over the years, which in turn means that many of its inhabitants despise all monsters. That hatred eventually took root in the village as a kind of religious doctrine, thus their behavior when they saw Trollis. You ask why the villagers were so kind at first. The guru explains in a measured voice. The village, she explains, adheres to a doctrine called the light faith. She goes on to explain that the foundational principle of the light faith is to be kind to people. Thus, the villagers treated you with great kindness. And so there have been two absolute doctrines in this village. Be kind to people and kill monsters. She gazes at the room where Trollis is sleeping and asks, "Your friend is a monster, yes?" You hesitate to reply, having vaguely suspected what Trollis actually is. The guru amends her words. "Forgive me. Perhaps that expression wasn't quite appropriate, since she is also human. She is half human and half monster. What are your thoughts on that?" she asks. It's true that monster blood may flow in Trollis's veins. Monsters, things to be hated. But as you've traveled together, seeing you falter, the guru offers another apology. The villagers were discourteous to your friend, and for that, I am sorry. Many of them lost family to monster attacks and are seized with hatred. I ask you to forgive them, she continues, her voice tinged with hurt. Ah, right. Your group wishes to go to New Terra, yes? She says, breaking the silence. Stunning that your powers could even tell you that, says Polka in a low voice, and the guru nods serenely. She explains that there is a stone tablet in the ruins of a religious edifice to the northeast of town. Said tablet has the way to New Terra recorded on it. However, you should know, Monsters have nested in the ruins, she adds. There's information on New Terra to be had, though, so you decide to go anyway, despite the danger. Trollis is sleeping soundly. Quite relieved, you thank the woman watching over her. She seems annoyed, but when you inform her that you're headed to the ruins, she quickly turns her attitude around and bows her head. The ruins were evidently a sacred site for this village, one where marriages, funerals, prayers for bountiful harvests, and other important rites were carried out. And the tablet was used in those ceremonies. You accept the woman's request, assuring her that any monsters who cross your path will meet a swift end. You've no sooner gotten your response out than Trollis's eyes fly open and she bursts out, "I come too." While she is a little unsteady yet, the apothecary's medicine seems to have done its work. You try to convince her to rest a little longer, but she insists on going to the ruins with you. At length, her persistence wins out, and you begrudgingly agree to take her along and head for the ruins.